Hey guys, it's Morgan Moore, and we had so much to talk about with former executive director of OEMC, Rich Guidice, that it couldn't all make it into the first episode. But we still wanted you guys to hear what he had to say, so here's a little bonus episode with some of the stuff that wasn't included in that first episode. So, what are these? What are some of the other things that you can think of when it comes to your time at OEMC?
Well, I think we'd all be remiss if we didn't mention the coronavirus, the pandemic that we had gone into together as a city. But OEMC was the lead coordinating agency for that event, and this was something unprecedented. It's something that obviously did not happen for over 100 years, and it was something that there was no script or a playbook really to work off of, other than there certainly were not any survivors that we were able to speak with, or any doctors that had any profound experience with this type of um, environment that we were going to be living in, that we could um, garnish information from. So it was a learning experience for everybody, and I think OEMC played a key role, especially in the beginning. We were organizing our committees, our health committees, and our emergency operations center, and making sure we plugged in the right people in the right places to be as successful um, as we could be for that unprecedented event that took place. So that was something that I think, again, wasn't was probably one of the more challenging things that we did, not only as an agency but as a city and as a country. And at the end of the day, um, I think we did a pretty good job. And certainly we have an after action on that whole incident that took place after 2 years of dealing with the pandemic, and it's all scripted and written down, and now as a placeholder in history, and have the script sitting on a shelf if it was to happen again.
And that's kind of what I'm finding a lot about OEMC's role in all of this. It's stuff that we've never dealt with before, but somehow we have to figure out, and this department has to figure out how to come in and handle it.
Hmm. Yep, that's very true. And we had an opportunity to shine at that intersection, and I know we came out on top in the long run. I mean, we made some predictions on what possibilities could happen, and I got to tell you, each one of those potential possibilities happened, and we were ahead of it in this particular instance. So, I mean, you talk about coup and continuity of government, and having the aldermanic body not able to um, perform their duties physically on location at City Hall, and how we would operate, passing laws and by ordinance, certain municipal code, certain things that had to get passed through City Council, and how that was all going to happen. And we predicted that and scripted that well ahead of actually pulling the trigger on that happening.
Awesome. What else can you remember from your time here?
Well, the only other incident that unfortunately took place that we had to deal with as an agency and as a city was certainly civil unrest. I think that was something very significant, really in Chicago and across the nation. And I think that we learned a lot from that whole experience. And I think we put some measures, well, I know that we have put some measures in place that will be able to put some stopgaps in those types of situations regarding civil unrest in the future. We identified posts throughout the city that would be manned, either by a physical barrier or a policeman, in the event something like this was to happen. So we identified 326 locations throughout the city, and we practice it routinely. And even to this day, I know it still continues at this time. It's still practiced routinely again. So we're prepared as we can possibly be if this was to happen again in our city.
And I feel like that's sort of also a good example of just how OEMC sort of brings all the departments together, right? For public safety, for different things like that. We kind of have our hands on everything.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, having having the 911 center again with the potential of 15,000 calls a day coming into our building, we get a firsthand look at what's going on in our city, and we're the ones responsible for responding and reacting to each one of these. And really, that's what makes us. That is what makes us stand out as an agency, because we are the ones that get a first glance at public safety as it comes into the center, and how we react and how we respond ultimately is how we will be judged.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.